Nation, before it's going to be a dark weekend. Stage 2 load shedding has resumed and will last until 6 a.m. on Monday. But Eskom's group CEO, that is Ruyter, briefed the media on the state of the system just a short while ago. And my colleague David Murugan was there, and he joins me now, of course, with the very latest coming in from Eskom's megawatt. Now, David, I mean, it's quite interesting that the man himself has raised so many issues around what's been happening at Eskom. Some very, very shocking. But, I mean, I understand that you also have him next to you where he'll further elaborate on those issues.
Absolutely, indeed. It was all about philosophy maintenance. Remember, this pressure was on a quarterly systems update, the operational status of Eskom. In fact, I've got the CEO with me, Ruyter. Mr. Ruyter, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. This was really about this principle or philosophy maintenance plan that you gave over to the board. The board gives it a thumbs up. How is this maintenance plan different from the maintenance you have already been doing as Eskom, so far as to how it would affect load shedding?
So in the past, Eskom spent a lot of money on maintenance. It is not as though we underspent, but the outcomes of the maintenance were quite poor. It did not contribute to the long-term predictability and reliability of our assets. So what we want to do now is to revert to the philosophy, and that's why we call it philosophy maintenance, of the people who built these power plants and adhere to their prescribed routines for maintaining the facility. And it's very much like maintaining a car. If you don't maintain your car according to the manufacturer's guidelines, the warranty will lapse. And that is the position that we have found ourselves in. So restoring that program and that philosophy will get us to a position where we can be reliable.
Yeah, but that would mean now an increasing set of planned blackouts because you're maintaining, isn't it?
There might be an increased possibility of load shedding as we take units offline for a longer period of time to maintain them and maintain them properly. However, we believe that we can mitigate at least partially this risk by buying in electricity from those independent power generators that have excess capacity that they're prepared to sell to us, and then also with the cooperation and support of the South African public to use electricity wisely and responsibly, particularly during peak hours.
I want to talk about the purchasing of power from those independent producers. Where are we? We know that all systems actually go that route. Have we got a contract signed? Are we planning to move further on that?
So we got the mandate from our board on Wednesday, so those discussions can now kick off, and we hope to have that in place as quickly as possible because it's a key part of our turnaround program.
You spoke about corruption. You were asked about corruption and the legacy it has at Eskom. Obviously, it's tied to some way or the other on how this institution operates. You spoke about lifestyle audits, but you were asked, why not make the contracts, with Eskom a bit more transparent so we can have a better view on that?
There are commercially confidential issues in there that you don't necessarily want to disclose to all and sundry. And it's not that we don't want to be transparent, but we also have to respect the fact that we are negotiating with individual contractors who have the need to respect commercial confidentiality. We are certainly prepared to be transparent, and we disclose those costs fully and the contracts fully to our shareholder in their oversight role as the representative of the people of South Africa.
All right. Mr. Ruyter, the one issue about Eskom's debt and your approach of how we should, as an institution, you go ahead and minimize that 450 billion rand debt. Anything you can disclose to me in terms of how you and government talk for achieving that?
It's a big number, and it's arguably the biggest financial challenge that we face is this very significant debt burden. So government has already made available 250 billion rand over a 10-year period in equity injections to bolster the Eskom balance sheet, so that certainly goes a long way to achieving financial sustainability. We need to look at our revenue, we need to look at how we spend capital, we need to look at how we spend money on procuring goods and services. And all of those levers have to be pulled in order to turn the business around to become financially viable.
I've got to ask you this, and away from the numbers. If you were asked one question, why did you take this job? How would you summarize that?
I think it's very important that every South African tries to make a contribution. If I had been offered the job and I turned it down, then in all honesty, I should have left the country and said, I don't belong here as a South African. I think it's our duty to make a contribution, and it's every South Africa's duty and opportunity to put something back into the country.
Hard work, though, in that title, isn't it?
It's not easy.
Andre de Ruyter, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. There you have it, not an easy job, and certainly not an easy presser this afternoon, talking to us exactly about how this philosophy maintenance will go ahead to me.
All right then, well, Devin, thank you for that. Not an easy